Hey, what's going on, everyone? So if you remember from last week, I did a what's in my bag. I made a little mention that I keep some dental floss and some plumber's tape in my case just in case my corks shrink. Well, as it turns out, that is exactly what happened this weekend. And I had to put some dental floss on my cork where my barrel attaches so that the barrel wouldn't slip or wiggle off. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna visit a little repair shop. There's a guy named Steven. He has a little mobile shop called Moment's Notice Instrument Repair. So we've never met before, but I figured that changing a tenon cork would be a perfect way to start our relationship off. And we're gonna go and check out how the process works of how to change a tenon cork. As you can see here, my tenon cork is quite sad looking. So I'm looking forward to visiting with Steven and seeing the process of changing a tenon cork on a clarinet. And up we go. So we made it, and Moment's Notice Repair, there he is. Pretty cool. And we're right outside of the Butler University campus. Yeah, I had an emergency right before a show, and I was like, well, this is what I gotta do.
That's exactly what you should be doing, because it's easy to come off and it doesn't affect anything. I want to peel off as much as I can instead of mechanically like this. But the contact cement that manufacturers use and repairmen use is very strong, so.
I have to do this every year.
Every year, huh?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Better that than, wearing out your tenons and have to have them sleeved or
exactly.
anything else like that. This is the sacrificial part.
Yes.
This solvent's going to help try to take up some of that glue and clean the surface so we get a nice fresh surface to adhere to. There we go. I took a lot off. If I don't get it all off, or at least, 99% of it, it's not going to stick very well. Yep, just to get the little bits off.
Perfect.
Doesn't hurt anything. Hit a curb on the way here, so everything's kind of like.
Oh, nice.
Oh man, it was like everything was open and
part of the
part of the experience. But instead, we'll just take a screwdriver, use it as a rolling pin. Now this anneals the cork, softens it up, so it will make the curve, make the turn, and not crack on us. So the way I'm going to cut it is I'm going to take the back end here, I'm going to take a fresh razor, I'm going to notch one side, the right width, notch the other side, and take a straight edge, line up my notches, you can lift one edge up, kind of anchor it that way. This side's a little difficult to do that, but here we go. Lined up. Instead of cutting, I'm going to score it. Sometimes when you cut, you have a tendency to wander, but if you score it, you can peel it over and peel it off.
Nice.
Checking it, we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the tenon, and what I use is contact cement. You apply it to both sides, so the tenon and the cork. Make sure you're getting it in the channel. Let it dry until it gets tacky. To prep the cork, I like to chamfer both sides, especially on a nice modern clarinet where it's got really, really square edges, and notch both sides so it kind of helps me start to sand it down. You'll see why here when we apply it. So we want to make a nice chamfer on both edges that are going to touch the tenon. So the back side is where we apply the glue, making sure to get a nice, even, thin coat. If you have too much, you'll get a glob and it won't dry properly and it could shift on us. So we do that and we do the little chamfer on the front side. So when we roll it over, it has somewhere to land on and to adhere to. And then we wait for them to dry and then we'll sand them down.
Sweet. Yeah. This is really cool.
Thanks.
So how'd you find the bus?
So I got it on this website called govdeals.com,
okay.
which has basically a government or a school surplus site where they auction off stuff. It actually belonged to IU Northwest up in Gary. And it used to be their golf team's bus.
Oh, cool.
And I found that out because when I was taking all the seats out, there were a bunch of golf tees in the seats.
Oh, gotcha.
So I ripped all the seats out.
Nice.
My original plan before buying the bus was to redo everything. Walls, floors, everything. But everything was in real good shape, so I decided to not do that. So just take all the seats out and add all my equipment in here. Yeah.
Perfect.
And it worked really well. And
yeah.
There's some rust issues on the underside because it's near Lake Michigan, but nothing that's too problematic.
Gotcha.
Things just kind of flake off sometimes. It's a solar generator.
So you have the panels on the roof then?
I've got a panel on the roof. I need to add some more, but you can also plug it in, on an extension cord at home, and it recharges as well, which is what's probably going to have to do this winter when it's all gray outside. Mm-hmm. But I keep my glue pretty thin, because it's the resin and then the thinner. I like to have a lot of thinner in it because it dries really quickly. So you'll see that there's no sheen, wet spots. It's all nice and matte. That means it's finished. Same on both sides. So then what we'll do is take your notch side. Always have your seam in the back. I'm going to plant it on one side, push it down. I don't want to touch the glue because the oil in your hands will make the glue not stick very well. So take something metal or something else, something plastic, to kind of push that glue bond together. So then I'll roll very slowly, trying to make that cork channel. I'm pushing down as I roll it because it makes it for a nice bond. The more pressure you're on it, and since it's a very nice clarinet, I don't want to hammer it or be too aggressive with it. So nice finger pressure is perfectly fine. And then what we're left is this overhang. So you'll see that where it was notched on the other side, we are now bonded over that now. So what we can do is take a razor blade, nice and sharp, fresh one, and cut it off. You don't have to cut it off all at the same time, but just notch it down, and then we can take off some more. And it's where it's meeting, so we'll leave it there. So now we have this little hump here from where they're overlapping. So we'll sand that down. This is 320 grit. I cut it in half so I don't scratch anything else, but I'm going to try to just carefully get that down. Okay, so nice and round. I am going to get a piece of masking tape so I don't scratch your silver ring.
You're too gentle.
And then we kind of want to shape it down, do a couple swipes, and turn it so we make sure it's nice and round. Because you don't want it to be oblong, then it doesn't fit very well, doesn't wear very well, and just not as a nice professional job as what we're going after. I've been getting into doing TikToks lately, which is, well, it's not great. It's a kind of a cesspool a little bit.
Yeah, it is a bit of a cesspool.
This is machined very well.
Yeah, the Tenon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nice.
They're very thick. They're usually just caps, but this one's a full Tenon. Does this one have the left E flat too?
Yeah, left E flat and the F correction, low F correction.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, wow. That was one of the differences is they put the low F.
Oh, nifty.
And then they put a ring on the bell, which was a big thing about the first generation.
Right. So you have a R13 Festival A then?
I have a Tosca A.
Tosca, ooh, a Tosca
Yeah,
A.
I had a Tosca B flat, but I decided to change to this.
Okay.
I really like this so far.
That's way better. Okay. We'll leave that there, but I am going to seal it. And for sealing it and cork grease, I like natural stuff because the cheap stuff you can buy at any music store is petroleum based, and petroleum will actually penetrate through your cork and break down the adhesive. So this stuff is lanolin, pure lanolin, pharmaceutical grade. I just put some on, kind of work it in, and it kind of creates a barrier, so to speak. So you can use your other cork greases and it will inhibit the petroleum to break it down. So I like to think of it as any respectable woodworker would not do a piece without sealing it or finishing it.
Right.
This is kind of the equivalent of that in my opinion. Final test, we want it to go on pretty easy. There you go.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
That was awesome. I love getting the inside view on
no problem.
things. Yeah, it was really cool. So we just got done with visiting with Steven from Moment's Notice Repair. What a nice guy. What a beautiful little shop he's got there on the bus. Hoping to develop more of a relationship with him. He seems like he knows what he's doing, and I was impressed with the work that he did to my instruments. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch you next time.